Okay, so if you've been working in Illustrator for a long time, you'll know that the perspective tool is new in Illustrator CS5. If this is your first go through with Illustrator, then welcome. Um, and let's take a look in this video. I'm just going to do an overview, an introduction to the perspective tool. Okay, so we come on to our tools bar, and this little icon right here is our perspective grid. Now we click it and this comes onto our grid. This will appear on our artboard. Now, uh, I've had a lot of students who this happens and they are like, oh no, how did this happen? I want to get this off my screen. And the way that you do that, if by accident you hit and you want it to leave, you just go to perspective grid and you go hide grid, okay? So, but let's not hide it. We want to click and we want it to appear. So I'm going to come back to here, view, perspective grid, show grid. All right, so let's take a look. So this is the default grid that will appear with the perspective grid. And what I want to do is just show you how you'll go about adjusting this grid. Now, the perspective grid, the tool in Illustrator CS6, we're looking at it in CS6, the same in CS5. It gives us the ability to draw in perspective in Illustrator. And how do we go about doing this? The default will be 2-point perspective. Let's take a look at this 2-point perspective. So what we see is we have our two planes, the one on the left, the one on the right, and we have a horizon line, our view line. We have the height of the grid. We can set the height of our grid right up here with the top, and we can set the ground level down here. Okay, so let's take a closer look. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see this a little bit better. Now, let's say we want to adjust the horizon line. We can do that right in here. We can move this around. We can see that these two little ones start to move too. So I could even pull this out and then we can see how that will adjust a little bit differently. Okay. So again, we have the big things right here are the height of the grid, the ground level, and the horizon line. Now, let's say that I was in 2-point perspective, but I wanted to adjust and open up the right plane. Well, I can click right here and I can open this up and adjust this as I'd like to, which is pretty awesome. And I can do the same to the left side. I'll grab this one over here and I can open this up. Now, let's say, I'm going to close this back up a little bit here. Let's say that I wanted to work with this and I wanted to, place some things on to here. So how would I go about doing that? Well, first thing is I need to select the plane that I'm working on. And this little tool right up here tells me where I'm working. So if I click on to the left plane, left grid, and I come in and I grab a shape. Let me just change the color of this shape. And I draw this shape. I can see that it's going to draw this shape in perspective. Now let's say I wanted to put something on the other side. I would need to click and then I could come over to this side and draw this shape in perspective. Let's say I wanted to create something down on the horizontal grid. Well, I could do the same. I could come on down here and draw in perspective. Now, let's take a look at how we would go about, I'm going to create a new file. Okay. And what I want to do right now is I'm going to change the perspective grid. So I'm going to come on in and let's go to 3-point perspective. I've just set it to 3-point perspective. I click up here. Let's change it. So we have this selected and we want to go to view and we are going to change it to 3-point perspective. All right, and so here we have, and we can see what 3-point perspective is. So, and with 3-point perspective, we have 3 different planes that we're working with. And even when we click on here and we see our little shape, we can see we have the left grid, the right grid, the horizontal grid. And again, same type of thing though, we can set the height of this. We can come down below and we can set where this is moving up in here. We can come on over, open this up if we need to. So what 3-point perspective is we have more than one vanishing point. Okay, so we have our vanishing point on our horizon line, okay, which we can see we have our horizon line right here, but we also have a vanishing point down here. Now we could also take that vanishing point and have it come on up here, okay, if we wanted to change the perspective of it. So, all right, moving right along. Or better yet, we could even, let's see if we can take this and we could even flip it around. Okay, let's take a look at another one. So if I was to come on in here, view, and look at 1-point perspective, click, 1-point perspective, voila, we have one plane right here. And as we come on over to this guy, we can see that we really just have one plane that we're working with. So that's a quick and easy overview of the perspective grid in Illustrator CS6. And take a look at my next video on how we go about actually applying this to an image. And I'll end there. Thanks so much.